Hi, welcome back. Today in our tutorial we'll learn how can we install a new DHCP server using remote server administration tools. Now if you remember, we set it up a Linux based DHCP server on CentOS, but the scenario is that sometimes it happens that your DHCP server would stop working. Now in that situation, if you'll have to set up something immediately and you want to make sure that your computers are now able to lease the IP address from the new DHCP server, we'll have to learn how can we set it up so that we can immediately resolve the problem as soon as possible. Now if you remember, we set it up a file server on this server a couple of days ago. You can see the video on our channel. Now today what we would do is that we would try to add a role of DHCP server on our same file server that we set it up last time. So the procedure would be the same as we did it last time. There would be a couple of steps involved in that, and I'll be explaining why we are doing and how to do it. Now as you can see, the IP addresses and rest of the things are mentioned over here, that our Active Directory has the IP address as 10.0.5.6, whereas our file server had the IP address of 10.0.5.8. Now just to show you as an example at the moment, that if I am on this server and if I'm going to command prompt and if I'll type in ipconfig/all, so it would show me the DHCP server which is enabled. I can see the default gateway as 5.2, so we'll have to keep that thing in mind, and 10.0.5.6 is the IP address of this server, which is the domain controller as well. But the difference is that it's not showing you any DHCP address over here, because this is an Active Directory domain controller and it has a static IP address, so DHCP is not required on this one. But if you'll see on our workstation, which is connected to the same domain, and I passed in the command ipconfig/all, here you'll be able to see that it is showing the DHCP server and its address as 10.0.5.4 because it's a Linux-based DHCP server which was working. Now, since we are going to set up a new IP address and we are going to set up a new DHCP server, this address should change to 10.0.5.8, which is the IP address of our file server, where we will be setting up a DHCP server. Now just to show you a difference, I'll again show you on my file server that what was the IP address over there. So that's the address. As I told you that it is 10.0.5.8. So we'll try to install the DHCP on this one. Now in order to do that, you'll have to click on all servers, then make sure you're clicking on file server 01 on which you would like to install the DHCP role. So you'll click next. We'll keep the options as it is, but here make sure that you're selecting file server 01, press next. Now it would ask that which role you would like to install. Just click on DHCP server, press next, and press next. We are not going to make any changes and simply install it. Now as you can see, it has been successfully installed and it has been listed on the left hand side as well. So we'll have to click on this complete DHCP configuration and click next. Use the account that you are using on your domain controller, commit it and close it, and then you can close this one as well. So now it has been successfully installed. You can check it over here as well, that it is giving a confirmation that it has been successfully installed. Now the confusion here is that since we have installed it, we can see DHCP installed over here, but if we'll right click on this one, we don't see any option of managing this DHCP server. Same goes over here, that if we'll go to tools, we don't see the DHCP icon or any link over here with the help of which we can manage the DHCP server which is installed on our file server. Now if you remember, we have installed this one on a core installation of Windows Server. It means that it does not have a graphical user interface, so we are just remotely setting up certain things on that. Now in order to manage the services which are hosted on our remote servers, we'll have to go to the remote server administration tools, and for that also we'll click on the manage, and then we'll click on add roles and features. Press next. We'll go with the default installation, but this time I'm going to select the Active Directory because we'll have to install the remote administration tool for DHCP so that we can manage it from our Active Directory. Press next, and then you'll have to click on feature since it's a feature for remote server administration tool. So we'll click on that, and then we are going to click on remote server administration tools, and under that you'll have to click on the remote administration tools. We selected the option for our file server earlier, but this time we are going to select this option as DHCP server tools. Once that's done, press next and install. Now, as you can see, it has been successfully installed, and we'll press close. And if now I'll click on tools, I can see DHCP listed over here. So I'll click on that one in order to open the DHCP so that we can configure it and use it for leasing the IP addresses. Now that's the first interface of your DHCP server. You'll have to right click on this one, and you'll have to add the server which will be used in order to lease out the IP addresses. So you'll have to click on authorize the DHCP server, click on this one, press OK. Now you'll be able to see the DHCP server which is listed over here. Now this is a fresh installation of it, so it does not know that which scopes should be there. So in order to define the scopes, like so that they can issue the IP addresses, you can right click on the IP4 thing over here and click new scope. After that, press next, and you can name the scope name. For example, I can call it for office, and then press next. And then you can give the range of IP address. So I'll select 10.0.5.100 to 10.0.5.150, and length for this one I can select as 24, just randomly whatever you want to select over here. If you want to exclude any IP addresses from this range, you can select it over here. I'm keeping it empty, and then you can define the lease duration, that the lease should be with a computer for at least 8 days. You can change it according to your own scenario. Now you can configure the DHCP options. Here we'll have to define the gateway, and if you remember, we set it up the gateway when we configured the firewall. Video for that is also available on our channel. So we'll give the IP address for this one over here, then we'll press next, and here you'll have to give the DNS server name. Now the parent name is your .local, which is my domain name. Now just to make it clear, I am removing it from there, but if I'll try to resolve the domain name, which is my Active Directory, it would still show you the same IP address 10.0.5.6. You can click on that one, and you can click next, and Win servers we can keep it empty, and then keep the default options over here, and then finish as well. Now here, this is your scope for the office IP addresses. IP pool would be from 5 to 100. Then address lease, at the moment there is nothing over here, and for the reservations we don't have anything. And if you would like to see the options for this scope, you can see the router address, which is the default gateway. Then you have the DNS server with your Active Directory details, and if you have any specific things on this one, you can see it over here. But in order to check that if it is leasing any IP addresses or not, you can right click on this one, go to display statistics, and here you can see that it has total 51 addresses available in this range, and 0% of it is utilized. And it's showing even that how many addresses are in use. So at the moment it's 0. we'll try to go to our workstation and we'll try to lease an IP address over there. Then we'll come back over here and see that if these statistics change over here where it is showing 0, and even if we'll refresh it, it is still 0 because at the moment there are no PCs which are reporting to this one. Again, we are here on our workstation 1 where you can see that the DHCP server is 10.0.5.4, whereas since we have changed the DHCP server, this address should be changed to 10.0.5.8. So in order to do that, I'll type in ipconfig and then I'll pass in /release. And then I'll pass in another command called /renew. So it would get an IP address from our new DHCP server, and if I would like to check it again by passing /all, you can see that the DHCP server address has been changed to 10.0.5.8, whereas previously you can see that it was 10.0.5.4. So it means that it has started getting the IP addresses from the new DHCP server, and in order to verify, we'll go back to our DHCP server and check it over there. So we are back on our DHCP server, and if I'll refresh it now, you can see that now it's showing that one PC has leased an IP address from DHCP server. So let's see it on our address lease. It should have listed the PC. As you can see, the workstation details are appearing here and it's showing the date and time when the IP address was leased. You can check it over here. If your PCs are not updated over here, you can click on this refresh button, so it would show all the PCs which has leased the IP addresses from here. So that's how we set up the DHCP server on our server 2019 using remote server administration tools. That's it for today. Thank you very much.